Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is the podcast.
The podcast? What's the
This is a
what's
podcast.
this is a podcast, okay.
What are we doing here? Hey, do we? So we're not publishing our names, but can we call each other our names, or do you want like a pseudonym?
That's a great question. All right. Actually that's a great first step. First step, let's think of names to call each other while we do the podcast.
Hmm.
Because we want to keep it anonymous and just sort
Hmm.
of put it out there. So what is the point of this podcast? Well, I feel like I initiated the conversation about starting a podcast.
Hmm.
Yeah. And part of it is because one, I want to talk to my friend, my friend. We'll get you a name later.
Uh-huh.
But also, I do want to create content and just have conversation and put it out into the world and just see what happens, I guess. If it blows up, good. But honestly, the goal is just to have good conversation and just see what happens. I think you're a pretty smart guy, and I think I'm also not dumb. And I think we have good conversations regularly, and just to see what will happen, I think is the goal.
Yeah. I think an added goal of mine would be to also get people who listen to it to think about these topics too. Because I think that's one thing that's lacking in like culture in general, right? Like we don't really think about things as much as we should because everything is spoon fed to us in like reels and TikToks. So we don't really have. I feel like we're beginning to lose the art of critical thinking about things. And even if they're like silly things, right? I think most of the things that we'll talk about won't be super serious, but even then, I think the ability to be critically minded about it and think through things. I mean, I'm hoping that people will be inspired to do that as we do that with each other and yeah, each other's thoughts and responses.
Okay, so the way you worded that, it sounded like we're gonna have a very serious podcast, but you did add the topics won't be very serious.
Yeah,
That's not what I was thinking at all. This is just gonna be random conversations about random topics. So, how is
but
our
but
yeah?
but even though they're random topics and random conversations, I feel like when we have those random conversations,
Mm,
they're still pretty thoughtful, right? We're not just saying things to say things, or like we don't brush things off. Like we disagree when we disagree with what the other person says, and I feel like we're pretty thoughtful in our responses. So
so it's like a mental
I
exercise.
I think so,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping people will kind of pick up or at least be inspired to do the same. Not just be fed information, but like learn how to process and you know articulate disagreements in a friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
We're typically friendly, usually. We'll see.
Oh, okay. You know what? That's so what we're doing right now. We just started. We pressed play on started recording with no plan, and part of what the podcast is gonna be is so these are some structure things. One, I don't want us to ever plan anything because I don't have the time, and I'm sure you don't have a lot of extra time to do a lot of planning and producing or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the topics will be random. Whether you bring a random topic without, so I don't want us to do prior research. If you have a topic, just bring it and then we'll talk about it, and then vice versa. Or if neither of us have anything we want to talk about, we're literally gonna go online and use a random topic generator. And time, we're gonna cut it at exactly 1 hour. Doesn't matter if we're in the middle of a very important or I don't know heated conversation. At exactly 1 hour,
Uh,
we'll cut it. That's a
uh,
capacity thing. So, because I never want us to feel like this thing is. So, this is just me talking to my friend for an hour exactly once a week and just see what happens, I guess.
is this going to be exactly an hour?
Yeah, yeah.
When did we start?
We're at 4 minutes and 36 seconds.
Okay. Dang. Okay.
Okay, so I think so. We're doing this before we recorded. What should the name of our podcast be? So two things I think we can at least do today is one, name the podcast, but maybe think of a name for ourselves. Maybe that's easier. What do
Mm.
you want me to call you while we do the podcast?
How about you call me reasonable and I'll call you rational?
What? That's stupid. Okay.
Any like favorite TV shows or anything like that?
Like I don't want to give too much away because I am concerned about accidentally doxing ourselves because we
Okay,
might.
how about this? How
Yeah.
about this? Um, oh yeah, Troy and Abed. Yeah, Community,
Troy and
dynamic duo.
Abed. You think we'll get in trouble for using Troy and Abed?
Oh yeah. Okay, maybe
Did you
not
say,
then.
oh yeah? Okay. See, like we can't do superheroes. I think that is too obvious. Just
Hmm,
hey, just pick a name. Like if you could rename yourself, what would it be?
don't know. Putting me on the spot. You
Like,
said no superheroes, right?
I mean, you can use their real names. You can't be like Iron Man. Yeah, that would be kind of
Oh,
weird. But use a real name.
oh okay.
Like I'm thinking about Sam, but that's too obvious. It's like too plain. I don't want it to be too plain. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you could start your life over with a new name, what would it be?
Start. You know, like Elon is an interesting name, right?
I I think you could get in trouble. I think.
Oh, Elon's a biblical name. Did you know that?
Oh no, I
Yeah,
feel like.
Elon's in the Bible.
Oh, where? Hold on, I'm gonna Google that right now. I'm gonna Google things because who knows?
Yeah,
Elon in the Bible. Like I trust
yeah,
you, but I also want to make sure you're correct. In
I
Judges,
appreciate it. Yeah,
he's there for a single verse.
yeah, that's
Okay,
a biblical name. It's like a old timey. You know what Bible names? That's good. Well, why don't you call me Asher? Tribe of Asher.
Asher. Is that a name that you would actually want for yourself, or are we just thinking of like random sort of
I think it's like a trendy, cool name,
Asher?
right?
I don't know any. Do you know any Ashers?
I know several.
Really?
Well, they're all babies, so they're like kids of friends.
Oh, hey, that's you giving out too much information about
What?
yourself.
No, Asher is actually, I think, pretty popular amongst like
So I have to.
our age group.
No, but I think I also have to agree with it because I got to call you Asher from now on. Asher, Asher,
You can be Ash, like from Pokemon, and I'll be Asher.
Ash, and Asher. No, that's okay. This is getting worse. Why is it so hard? You know
I
what?
think of
Jerry.
oh,
You can call me Jerry.
okay.
I think that's a
You can
fun
call me
name.
Tom.
Tom. Oh my. Why you
Yeah,
gotta
I'm
do
Jerry.
a word association? That's not the point. Tom and
No, I
Jerry.
know.
No, I
Yeah.
think we'll get in trouble for calling it the Tom and Jerry podcast.
We won't call it that though.
Jerry
That's
and
the
Tom.
next thing, right?
All right. No, but I mean like where it's hosted by Jerry and Tom.
I don't think we necessarily need to say
It
like
is
this.
hosted
We're
by.
only coming up with names to call each other, right?
All
Not
right.
to advertise.
Jerry and Tom. Tom. You know what? I kind of like Tom just because you don't seem like a Tom.
Yeah. There you
Tom. Hey,
go,
Tom. How are you doing, Tom? Okay, I'm gonna try to memorize
Jerry.
that. Tom and Jerry. Okay.
There
Okay.
you go.
All right.
Perfect. And
Wow.
honestly, if anyone were gonna sue us, like who would that be? Aren't isn't like everyone involved in the creation of that cartoon like dead
I'm sure
by now?
somebody owns it and still makes money from it, though.
It's fine. There
Okay,
you go.
it's fine. Yeah. It's two very common names.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
All right. So
So
the podcast name. So we had some suggestions before we started recording, right?
yeah. Tell us your suggestions.
So we wanted it to be the concept is unplanned, right? Like we don't want to plan anything.
That's right.
That's
Yes.
not unplanned podcast.
Unplanned podcast. So I push back on that because unplanned is a very charged word. It has a lot of meaning and connotation for lots of people, especially nowadays.
Mm.
But I don't hate unplanned podcast. I don't hate it.
Yeah. And then you shorten it. The acronym is UP, right?
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting. Okay, I don't hate that so far.
Yeah.
Or okay, so I thought of Smart Guys podcast, but there already is one. I
Mm.
think what's his name? That guy from Modern Family? Not Modern Family. Arrested Development. Who's that main guy?
Jason Bateman.
Yeah. He has a
Oh,
podcast called Smart Guys or Smart something. I don't know, but
Hmm. No.
Un-
Unplanned podcast.
Unplanned. Is there any way to make it edgier and more controversial, possibly?
If we're just going straight controversial,
Uh.
now I'm like hesitating because
Why are you hesitating?
I said if we're just trying to like get like a clickbaity name,
Mhm.
let's just use like really charged words, right? Like unplanned lives matter
Mhm. Mhm.
or unplanned uh, uh, Russian lives matter. I don't know. Like
Whoa, 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 whoa.
who's the who's the side that the mainstream media is on with that war? Ukraine, right? Or you know something that's just completely not related to the content, but people will click on it
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're upset with the name,
Okay,
right?
so what are some words that are very like a lot of people have opinions about, but aren't necessarily bad on their own? Like
Um,
unplanned is I think has a lot of meaning, and a lot of people people's attentions will be drawn there when they see that word. What about Trump? Can we put Trump in there somehow?
hmm.
Unplanned Trump. What's Trump? Is Trump an actual word?
Yeah, like trump card or
All
to
right,
trump
I
something.
want to look up
Is it
the
a verb?
definition of Trump. Definition of Trump. Card game thing. A helpful or admirable person. What? Spencer's dog is a Trump. Okay, I
There's no way that's real.
you think no? I mean, it's on Google and it's the dictionary,
Um,
Oxford Languages.
in the verb, in under verb, it says to beat, right? Beat someone or something by saying or doing something better.
Oh,
Oh,
the unplanned Trump podcast that
no. How about
trumps.
the trumping unplanned podcast?
No,
This
Trump.
is a verb, right? Huh?
Yeah, trumping people won't care about. We have to have just Trump. It's a very iconic name. Trump's. You think okay? If we put Trump's podcast, for sure we'll get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
Trumping podcast, trumping, unplanned trumping podcast.
Or yeah. Just call it like the gay marriage abortion podcast. Gay marriage
What?
abortion.
Okay.
Uh,
All right. Keep
all the
going.
all the hot topic.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going. What else? What else can we call
uh,
it?
gay marriage, uh, abortion, Palestine, Ukraine podcast.
All right.
What else does the
Uh-huh.
culture care about these days?
Gender identity.
Yeah, unplanned gender podcast.
Unplanned. Should the title should our the name of our podcast not even make sense? We could just have unplanned gender identity Trump podcast.
I
If that's the name of the podcast, I think people will click it for sure, right?
think so.
Is it illegal? It feels illegal.
It does. I mean, it feels very dishonest to say the least.
Unplanned gender identity Trump podcast.
Is there? Can we actually look to see if there is an unplanned podcast?
All right. Let me get my producers on it. Unplanned podcast. Matt and Abby? The Unplanned Podcast. So there is, if you Google any title of a podcast, it will pop up. Like literally everything. I think there are no more unique podcast names.
Hmm.
The Unplanned Podcast. They have an Instagram page. They have 365,000 followers. Okay. Um,
How
the
about the impromptu podcast?
no, see that is too like it makes too much sense. The point of the name, or my point, I don't want the name to just make sense. I want it to be controversial, be eye catching. That's what I would like. Wait,
How
what?
about
Let me
the
see what was
All Lives Matter podcast?
the Unplanned Podcast. What is this even about? All Lives Matter podcast. No, no thanks.
People will click on that.
All
How
Lives
about?
Matter podcast. I bet you. Okay, let's see if that's a thing.
I'm sure it is. It has to be.
All Lives Matter podcast. Yep. They have an Instagram page. They have 36 followers.
36. Huh,
Yeah.
you can beat that. No, how about something really long and convoluted? Like the two guys just talking about something without really thinking about it.
Is there a limit to the length of podcast names?
I don't think so.
Two guys talking about two people of some gender. Okay, let's get gender in there. Two people of some
Okay.
gender
Uh-huh.
whose lives matter having an
Uh-huh.
unplanned podcast that will trump all other podcasts.
There you go.
No, I'm being for
I
real.
think
I'm,
we
I'm
got
actually
it.
kind of being serious. I'm actually kind of being serious.
I think we got it.
Two people
Do that.
of some gender. Okay. Two people. Two. Okay. Can we shorten it at all? Hold on. Okay. Two people of some gender doing unplanned podcast. Do we add whose lives matter? Because my life matters. Does your life matter?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I I don't know what the politically correct answer to that is, right?
The politically correct answer to whether or not your life matters?
Yeah, because
Okay.
people get upset when we
Nah,
say
you're
some lives
okay.
matter.
This conversation is becoming
Right.
too political. I'm not into that. I'm
You're right.
not
You're right.
into that.
No,
Okay.
but I was being honest. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
But I
Okay.
think my life matters.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Hey, your
Mm.
life matters. Okay.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
In my opinion, at
Thanks,
least.
Jerry.
Okay. Two people of some gender doing an unplanned podcast whose lives matter and will trump all other podcasts.
Mm.
I don't hate it. You know, that's a great starting point. I think
Okay.
yeah. You know, because I want this podcast to be very different from other podcasts. Because other podcasts they have clever names, they have planned stuff, they do
Mm.
research. I want us to be. I think so. If two people, you know what we could do, we'll think about what it takes to make a very good podcast, and I want us to do the opposite and
Okay.
see. So like what are some things about podcasts that you like, and we'll try to do the opposite of those things.
You know what I like? I like when a podcast has good audio because they're using good mics.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe I just use the mic off of my earphone instead of the mic that I'm using now.
All right. You know what? Okay. That's a great point, and that is a good idea, but I'm gonna veto it just because that's too much. Okay.
So we want to do some things well, not everything the opposite of.
Oh, now I feel like a hypocrite. Am I a hypocrite? Am I fake? Should we have bought bad audio?
No, I think so. I think those are the things that we need to probably talk about offline here, um, because
Uh,
I think what you're trying to say is we want to be different conceptually and structurally, right? Like we
yeah.
don't want to be so different that instead of a podcast, we're actually just a blog or something. Like we want to be a podcast that does certain things
All
a
right,
little
all right. You know,
differently.
so I'm gonna be honest. I
Uh
don't. Of
huh.
course, I don't expect anybody to see this or care about this, and this is just for us to have fun. And 1 hour of my week is like no problem to give up, and it's the return on investment for my time is I think well worth it, right? But I also, to be honest, I want to be famous and make lots of money. I want a passive
Uh,
income. So if this blows up, I will be thrilled and it'll be so exciting.
uh,
But I think the way that a podcast can blow up is one, you're already a celebrity. Because I think everybody, like, there are so many smart people talking about so many different things.
mm,
And they're trying to do a podcast very well, have it planned, be on a regular schedule, and all these things. I think for us to break through and get some attention, it is to be the opposite of whatever, like be unique and different.
Yeah.
But audio quality, probably if we want to get noticed but also be different, I think audio quality is something we must have.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I
audio
agree.
quality, let's keep it. So what's another thing? What's another thing you like about podcasts? 'Cause to be honest, I never listen to podcasts. I think they're dumb. I think I think podcasts are a waste of time. Well, that's not
So
true. I
okay.
like podcasts, so I do
Uh-huh.
watch like clips from podcasts on
Uh-huh.
YouTube and wherever, like social media, and stuff that makes me laugh. I do watch repeatedly, but I just
Yeah.
don't like look up a podcast and go through one episode at a time. But I do enjoy the content from many podcasts. But
So
yeah,
I enjoy full like podcast episodes.
why?
Um,
Like how long? What's a good length for you?
well, I mean, I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. Some of those episodes go like 3 hours long. You know,
He talks
I
to people for 3 hours. Their breaks. How does he talk to somebody for 3 hours?
well, there are times where they're just like, oh, I have to go pee, and then they'll pause it and then start recording again.
Oh, I see. I
But
see.
it's not. Sometimes I don't listen to. Most times, I actually don't listen to it in one sitting. Like I'll listen to like an hour, go do something else, and then the next day I'll listen to the rest. But I think the unique advantage of the long form conversation is you get the context of everything. Not everything, but most of the things they're talking about, you have a fuller understanding of the context. The thing I find about just listening to clips is it's so easy to assume the context and kind of fill in the blanks. So I think it is definitely more digestible, but I prefer the long form conversations. So maybe that's something we need to think about. Like, do we want to allow people to digest our conversations in these short snip what's the word I'm looking for? Short
Snippets.
snippets, yeah. Or do we say that's something that so many podcasts do that we're not going to do that? And that's how we'll be the different. That will be one of our differentiators. That we only exist within the podcast,
Oh,
the
so we're not
full
gonna
conversation.
clip it and post it?
That's what I'm asking. Should we do that, or is that one of the things that you want to kind of buck the trend on?
For us to get famous, I think we have to clip it and post it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there are two things that we are definitely going to be doing that
Hey,
are
you
very
don't
similar
want
to
you
other
don't want to.
podcasts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, we're not gonna be exactly like the what's it called, the Bizarro of podcasts. That would be silly,
Yeah.
right?
Because that's actually what it sounded like you wanted earlier
Well, I
when you were
want
saying.
I do want to be very different. Well, okay, so because otherwise it'll just get lost in the ocean of other podcasts. So for us to
Yep.
get noticed, we got to be different. And I think this is pretty different so far. Like unplanned topics, we just show up and use like throw out a topic without doing any research. I feel like lots of podcasts, if they throw out a topic, they actually do some research about it.
Yeah.
Probably. Okay, so the only two podcasts that
But hold
I
on, hold
yeah.
on. That's, I don't mean to challenge the whole concept of the podcast, but
Mhm.
is that potentially what makes those podcasts like good? The fact that they research beforehand?
I've seen the Joe Rogan podcast, like full
Huh?
episodes of it. Like Elon Musk, I did watch Elon Musk talk for a long time, and that was very interesting. It was very interesting, captivating. And I'm sure they plan like every topic they're gonna talk about. I watch actually a lot of podcasts too with Mr. Beast in them, and I'm sure they're not just like, hey, just show up and we'll talk and see how it goes. No, I'm sure it's not like that at all. But another one, for example, Bad Friends podcast with the
Hmm.
I don't know their names,
Bobby
but
Lee?
Bobby Lee. I know
Bobby
Bobby
Lee.
Lee, and then the other guy.
Andrew Santina.
I that name doesn't ring a bell at all. But sure, you think they? I'm sure somebody plans the topics for them. Have you seen that before? Does one
Yeah.
per- does Bo- so it seems like Bobby Lee never knows what he's talking about, but the other
Yeah.
guy, he seems like the host. So do you think he knows and has things prepared?
So I think that is the kind of dynamic. It's the intentional dynamic of the two hosts, right?
Mhm.
One guy slightly more informed, the other guy just completely clueless. And that's kind of Bobby Lee's brand too, right? So it works for them. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need maybe that's our differentiator. Both
Nobody.
hosts are dumb and don't know what they're talking
I
about.
don't like the word dumb, but yeah.
Uninformed.
Oh, I don't like that either. Unprepared
Uh,
or
okay,
underprepared.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You know
Oh,
what? So yeah,
how about the unprepared podcast?
the unprepared podcast.
Huh.
The unprepared. I
'Cause
like the
let's be
word
honest, the other
unprepared.
one, I'm worried about the other name that we
Unplanned.
suggested
Whoa, we
because
can't do unplanned. Oh, the long one, the Trump
yeah,
gender, all
yeah.
that stuff.
Well, because I actually don't know like who's gonna be able to find that. I actually don't know if that length is allowed on most podcast
Well, we can
platforms.
trim out the filler words. It can just be unplanned gender Trump podcast.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So I think a lot of people will find it. Like if they're like, does Trump have a podcast? I think
Um,
we could be one of the search results.
okay.
Unplanned gender Trump podcast.
You know what we should do? We
Yeah.
should ask ChatGPT what are the top search words for podcasts?
You have Chat GPT? I don't have it on my phone.
Yeah, let me get it.
Like, I don't really use it that much. So that's the extreme, right? That's sort of the extreme. We want to pull in views and attention. What's it called? The Unplanned Gender Trump podcast. I do think that's a little too extreme.
Here we go.
Okay.
The top categories of podcast is true crime, comedy,
Mm.
interview, business, history. So why don't we call it
True
the
crime comedy
yeah.
interview. True crime, but okay. So we can do that, but it doesn't say anything about what our podcast is actually going to be about. True
Yeah.
crime comedy podcast.
Well, it could potentially because we don't know what every week's topic is going to be, right?
Maybe etc. True crime comedy interview etc. podcast. If we put in the etc., it's sort of like it could be one of these three things, but it could be other things as well.
There we go. That's our that's
You
our
know what? Like, so I
GYA.
think that's not a bad strategy, but I also want to be a decent and honest person. As much as possible.
Sorry, I
Uh
need to stop you. I feel like I'm getting
huh.
mixed signals here. Like I feel like I'm getting mixed messages.
Uh-huh.
Um, and maybe this is like a good prelude to what our conversations are going to be like.
Oh, exactly,
You're,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, this is
yeah.
exactly how the conversations will go. I'll say stuff and then backtrack and then say different
And then
things.
say something totally
Yeah,
different,
but I am
complete
using my
opposite.
brain while I talk.
There you go. Yes, I believe that is a requirement.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay. Unprepared, I don't hate. Unprepared,
Uh,
using the brain. Because we're using brain. Like you said before, it was logical.
yeah.
It's a logical podcast. I mean, I'm sure it'll get emotional at times.
Sure.
But you said like you were hoping to have good dialogue, like an
Mm,
intellectual, and you want people to see what it looks like when two people, just think things through. And you know what? A lot of the time, I don't agree with the things you say, but I do
yeah.
hear them, and my opinions can change. As
Mm,
stubborn as it may seem, if I feel like you're more right, I will change my mind. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, me too. Like a lot of times I disagree with you. I do have to say there's been zero cases where I felt like I needed to change my mind. So
What
I don't know
that
if that speaks to my stubbornness
what? That's the
or
opposite of what I said.
yeah,
What are you saying?
yeah.
What?
No. What I'm saying is, I disagree with you a lot,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
I believe I have the capacity to change my mind. It's just between me and you, that hasn't come up yet. But who knows? Maybe it will for the first time on this podcast.
I think you're saying you're smarter than me. You think you're smarter than me? You think you
Hey,
just know better than
you
me?
You infer what you want to
Hey
infer
man, you
from
need
it.
some more humility. That's crazy. That's crazy. I make some good points, I feel like.
Oh yeah, yeah. Sometimes,
Okay. Hey,
occasionally.
even if you don't agree, I do have good points sometimes, right?
No, I appreciate
My
your
perspective.
responses because I
Okay.
often I okay I believe, and this is gonna sound weird, but
Uh-huh.
I don't. Oftentimes, I think you're wrong,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
But
sure.
I appreciate the
The reasoning.
semi reasonable
Uh-huh.
reasonableness of what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm okay with
Okay.
that. I think
Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's probably what most people are gonna go through in life. With people they have disagreements with. It's not gonna be a clean, clear cut. Okay, I agree with you. Let me change my mind, like worldview based on what you just said. It's gonna be very messy. It's gonna be yeah, probably don't want to change my mind on that. But I think the ability to retain respect for one another and appreciate the things that we say, I think that goes a long way. That's probably why we've been friends for so long, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? Yeah, I do agree. Even if I don't agree with you, I understand and see your perspective and where you're coming from and like your logic behind it. Because some people are just like, I don't like it. I don't know. I just don't like it, and I don't have good reasons for it. I don't care what you think. You know, like
Yeah,
some people start with their emotions, which is okay. But yeah, I do
I
completely.
disagree.
You you
I
you think
disagree.
some people
Huh?
start? You think nobody starts with their emotions?
No, no, no. I disagree when you said it's okay.
Well, oh, it's okay if they start with their emotion. No, okay, okay. Well, some people process information emotionally first, or even struggle to do it like head and logically. I don't know. I know lots of people like that. Is it okay? I don't know if it's. I don't think one is better. See, I'm gonna say that it's not better or worse. I prefer a certain way, but if people process information emotionally, that's okay.
I think
Mm,
the processing part is fine, but to shut down
the brain.
and to well, no, to shut down any sort of open doors for conversion, right? Like meaning like changing their mind on the topic.
Oh,
Like if
no,
you
that I agree with.
automatically, huh?
No, but two people who are like, say one person is arguing more emotional reasons and one person is arguing like logical reasons,
Hmm.
then that conversation it's not even happening, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But if
right. That's
somebody
what
is
I mean.
so
Yeah.
emotional where they're like, I'm just not gonna listen to you at all. No, that's not an emotional person. That's an ignorant person.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Anyways, yeah,
Cool.
see that? Yeah, we can agree and
There you
discuss
go.
things,
Dang.
even through misunderstandings.
In real time on the podcast on our
Yeah.
very first episode. Wow.
33 minutes so far. What's the name of the podcast? Unprepared. I think you know what? I'm leaning towards we got to make it a little bit about the topic of our podcast.
Yes.
So unprepared is
I
okay.
I, I want it to be succinct, like meaning like that weird long name we were talking about. I think both of us were, somewhat joking on that,
Oh, I
but
I liked it. I genuinely liked it. But
okay.
okay, sure.
But for me, I think if we really want any sort of shot at people being able to access this podcast,
Taking it
we need the
seriously.
name to be we need the name to be like something really quick and easy.
All right, unprepared
For
podcast.
example, unprepared, or like why don't we call it the etc. podcast, etc.
I think that word is there's a barrier.
What do you mean?
Like
Like people don't know what that means?
I'm not gonna say that officially. I'm not gonna officially say that.
Oh wow.
But I do think whether it's because of age or education level or something, I feel like etc. It's not that commonly used of a word, which is correct. Yeah, I'm correct about that. It is a very underused word.
Uh, but maybe that's what makes people want to click on it.
What is etc.?
Yeah. The etc. podcast. What is that? there's that air of mystery. Right?
You know what? Okay, sure. We'll okay. We just put it to the
I
side for
guess I
now.
guess on the next episode we'll have landed on a name to have published this.
Oh, Unprepared podcast is also already a podcast, but they have 45 followers.
Oh, then yeah, we
Just
can
a
do that.
couple of friends completely unprepared to do a podcast, but are doing it anyway. Let's shoot the bull. Okay, let's see how many episodes they have. They have 2 posts on Instagram, and they have 16 episodes. Oh my gosh!
Hey, I think we just ignore it, right?
And just
And do
try
it.
to beat them.
Yeah.
Okay, here are their topics. Here's some topics from them. Episode 1: nostalgia. Mason hates that Bryson DeChambeau is good. Introduction. Nostalgia. Okay, they talk about nostalgia. Alex got lost on a mountain. Okay, so they just tell random stories about themselves. And their episodes are under an hour, 38 minutes, 47 minutes. Oh, hour and 17 minutes. Look, they're so inconsistent.
Are there going to be episodes where we literally get cut off mid sentence because we're posing this
I'm not kidding.
crazy?
I'm gonna exactly stop it at 1 hour and 0 seconds. Like as
Okay.
soon as it hits 1 hour. So we're at 36 minutes and 15 seconds.
Mm.
And yeah, you know what? Isn't that exciting? Isn't that like
You're
so?
right.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And that's
Yeah.
how many podcasts are cutting people off mid sentence to end their podcast.
You're right. Yeah, that is our differentiator. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. Okay, how about the unprepared and unplanned? Is that too much of like the same word together?
No, no, I like it.
Unprepared.
Redundancy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, actually, redundancy is okay. And we're competing against those two different podcasts.
There you go.
Unprepared and unplanned podcast. Unprepared. Do those words mean, are they different in any way? Unprepared and unplanned.
Yeah. Yeah.
How?
Because preparation is the action of doing something. Planning is the conceptual.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No. No. What do you mean?
Yeah. Like if we're planning a trip,
Oh, you can do it in your
right?
head and
Yeah.
actual preparation. Oh,
Preparation for a trip
okay. So
requires like
unplanned and
packing.
unprepared, because
Yeah.
we're not thinking about it and we're not doing anything about it.
There you go.
Okay. Can we
I
add
like
another
it.
U? Triple U, the 3 U's?
Yeah. Unprepared, unplanned, uninformed.
I don't like the word uninformed. Huh? It doesn't have a lot of
Uh,
negative connotation. You don't think so?
oh, how about this? So we go with the UP. Unplanned, unprepared, unprofessional. We're not professional. We're not getting paid for this.
Unprofessional. But that sort of seems like sloppy and lazy. Which I mean, yes. Like that word has never been used for a good reason.
So you want to be like polished and
No.
again,
No.
this is the whole getting mixed.
All right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. All right. Let's keep trying another U word.
Yeah. Un Unfunded. You're
Unfunded.
not funded.
Okay. Okay. Well, what if we eventually get funded?
Then we take that part out of the name.
We change the name of the podcast.
Exactly, right? As soon as we start getting traction with funding,
Then
we'll
we
change the name.
change it to unplanned, unprepared, and now funded.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 You know what? I'm gonna. Hey, you know what would be really exciting? Words that start with U. Here we go. Umpire. Undergo. I don't even know what undergo is. Is that like to attempt?
Yeah. Or to
Useful.
do something.
Underground. Unpack. Urban.
Oh, unpack. I like unpack
Unplanned.
because we're
Unprepared.
unpacking conversation.
And unpacked. Unpacked or
Yeah.
unpacked?
Unpacked. Unplanned, unprepared, unpacked.
Past tense.
Oh, unplanned and unprepared unpacking. Because we're unpacking the
So
topic
yeah. No.
whilst unplanned and unprepared.
So I understand what you're saying, but
Huh?
now it's starting to sound too much like a Dr. Seuss kind of thing.
But you're literally okay. Yes.
Hey, hey,
Yes.
hey! Look,
Huh.
you're the ideas guy, and I'm the evaluator guy right now.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. It's just my opinion. That's how I feel. Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. That's what all
Unplanned.
this is. That's what all of this is about, Tom. Okay.
Right, Jerry. Unplanned, unprepared.
Umbrella. Okay.
Un-
Utensils.
okay.
Ukulele.
Hey,
Unicorn.
how about look up words that start with U and P?
UNP. That start with UNP. Um. Okay. Okay. 15-letter words. Okay. Let's just go from the biggest words to the smallest words.
Okay.
Unprepossessing. Okay, that's too many
Uh-huh.
letters probably. Okay, unprofessional is one. Unpleasant.
Oh,
Unpleasant. That's not my goal. I don't want to
yeah,
be.
that's yeah, I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Unpredictable.
Oh, I like that.
All right. All right. So
Unplanned, unprepared, and unpredictable.
okay.
That's it
You
right
know
there.
what?
I
Like
like it.
I don't hate those words, but I hate that there's three UNP words together.
We call
Anyway,
it the Up Three podcast.
the what?
Up Three.
Up three?
Yeah. UP. Unplanned,
What
unprepared.
about the N?
Well, like the UN is like
Uh huh.
not the word, right? It's a prefix of the opposite of the word that
Oh,
it's
the three. What? I don't know what you're saying anymore.
just
Unpalatable.
no. I mean,
Unprecedented.
okay.
Unpretentious.
No, I like
It is a
unpredictable.
lot. Okay, let me look. Give other words a chance. Okay, unperformable. Okay, unpromisingly. Unpromisingly. What the heck is
Oh
that? Unpunctual. Unpublishable. Hey, I kind of like unpublishable.
Okay.
Unplanned,
Uh-huh.
unprepared, and unpublishable. But we're gonna publish it. I guess
Well,
that's it.
exactly. So
All right.
our name is already a lot. You want to?
Unprofitable. Should we? Okay. Unpersuasive.
Wait, I thought your biggest beef with unpredictable was that it was another UNP word.
Well, I'm just giving you some more UNP words.
Yeah, so you're gonna have the same beef with all of them too, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So then why are
Unprotected.
we?
Hey, hey, look, let me just go through the list, okay? I'm at 11
Okay,
words with
okay.
UNP. Unprotected. That's a good word.
But we are
Unpatriotic.
protected. We are
What are we
protected
protected by?
by our pseudonyms and not publishing of our names.
There's that guy who can find anybody anywhere by a picture of them. I bet you that guy could find us.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's gonna be people who, if they really wanted to figure out who we were, they could. But
Unpressured. Unplausible.
no, I don't like it.
Let's see. Unprovoked, unplayable. The unplayable podcast. There's some sort of oxymoron kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I don't hate unprovoked.
Unprovoked.
Yeah,
I mean, is it
because we're having these
unprovoked?
conversations unprovoked.
Unproduced. I think that's like it's like a negative term. It's sort of like
Yeah,
bashing on ourselves.
yeah.
Unplugging. Unpedantic. Unpedantic.
I don't even know what pedantic means.
But I've heard it before. Unpassable. Unplugged?
We're
We're
literally
plugged
plugged
in. We're
in.
plugged in. Okay, okay. Unplanted, unplumbed, unpressed,
No, communicate.
unplucked. Okay, these
I
words are getting
feel
worse and
like
worse.
yeah, I think unpredictable is our word.
Okay, what happened?
Unpredictable.
Unplanned, unprepared, and unpredictable.
Yeah. Up three.
Is that
Up three podcast.
what? So explain the up three again.
Because when we don't, it's kind of like an acronym, right? Because the UN is an entity unto itself, right? It's a prefix that you can put on most words to say the opposite of what the word is,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And then after the UN, those are all words by themselves, right? Planned, predictable, prepared.
Uh huh.
So that's why using the acronym UP for each of those words.
You said three up.
Up three.
Up three. Up three. You sure that makes sense?
I mean, people can call it the Up Three podcast, but we'll publish it as Unplanned, Unprepared, and Unpredictable podcast.
3UP or 3UP. 3UP? Because there's three
No,
U
but
words and podcast.
Up three just comes off, rolls off the tongue.
3UP, up
Much.
3.
Yeah.
Sure. You know what?
I'll call it the Up Three podcast. You can call it whatever you want.
All right, I'll call it the 3
about
up, and
that?
you call it the up 3. I think
Okay.
that'll be our
Yeah,
thing
you know what?
now.
Let's see how, if we do get a following, let's see which one people say more.
Wait, which one's yours?
Up three.
Up 3 and mine is 3 up. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna remember. Are we sure? Okay, that's confusing. 3 up.
Oh,
3 up.
because it's a good thing we're recording this.
3 up.
Everything is examinable.
Okay.
Everything is, you can go back and.
Who's gonna go back? I'm not even gonna go back and listen to this. I'm just gonna
No.
post it. Hopefully, there's no issues. Okay.
Hey, so it sounds like we got our two kind of goals completed, right?
Unpredictable. Wait, say it again.
Unplanned, unprepared, and unpredictable.
Is that the best order for those 3 words?
Why not?
Unplanned. I forgot the 3 words again. Go ahead.
Okay, unplanned,
Uh-huh.
unprepared,
Sure.
and unpredictable.
So planning, you said, is conceptual. So that's in the brain, and then you do it, and then you don't know what's gonna happen. I think that flows. I think that there's a logical progression in those words.
Exactly.
Say it again.
Can you just record me
Huh?
just saying the title and then just?
All right.
Play it
You're
again?
up 3. I'm 3 up.
Yes.
3 up. Unplanned. Unprepared. Unpredictable.
There you go.
Podcast. The UUU podcast.
Yeah. The U3. Oh, the U3 podcast is not bad either. Like U2, but U3.
U2, but you're U3. 3 up and up 3 and U3.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be nice if we had a third person, but I also don't want to share the spotlight with anybody else.
Hey, how about we come up with like an imaginary person that we reference? So like we'll only talk about this this
like
thing on this episode.
uh-huh.
In future episodes, we just assume and we kind of like play as if there's a third person here.
that
And
like they're supposed to record with us and they're missing, or like, oh, you know how people are always like, you know, I have a friend who did this and that, but they're actually talking about themselves.
no, it'll be like I'll say something and yeah, you agree with me, right? And then I'll say a name.
Kevin.
And then yeah, there you go, Kevin.
Tom,
Hey,
Jerry,
Kevin, right?
Kevin, yeah, Kevin. You think so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, see, Kevin agrees with something. Yeah.
So they're our
And then, like,
producer who
it was
doesn't
like,
have a mic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know,
there you
cause
go.
like, yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
Kevin, look that up for me. And then it's actually one of us looking it up.
Exactly.
Ooh.
And then this will be a deep cut, right? Because we'll never like mention this again, that Kevin's not a real person.
Ooh, and if we blow up and they're like, "Where's Kevin?" Kevin
Yeah,
never
only the
existed.
Only the people who listen to the first episode will know
Ooh,
that Kevin is not real.
My mind is
Yeah.
being blown right now. That's actually really. Hey, but we can also talk about Kevin too. Like, tell stories about Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Kevin. I don't know. Yeah, did this or
We'll say
that.
stuff like, remember, like me, you, and Kevin, we went out for drinks and Kevin got in a fight with that one guy.
Yeah.
Really got messed up.
Yeah. And if we,
That's why he can't talk today, because his mouth is sewn up because of
Oh,
all the stitches.
say what? Oh, yep. And if we have to blame somebody, it's Kevin's fault. It was Kevin's idea. We talked about it because Kevin wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you know how the audio quality on the last week's episode was really bad? Yeah, Kevin messed it up.
Kevin, are you serious? You know what? You're lucky we don't get paid, or I'd fire you, man, like in an instant.
Hey, lay off Kevin, man.
Kevin, no,
He's
hey, Kevin needs some accountability. He's a mess. He's always drunk. He's drinking like every day.
Yeah.
Kevin, you know what?
Hey,
Like, yeah.
Can we? Oh, okay. Let me ask this carefully. How
Alright.
much of your personal life are you willing to share?
So I actually thought about that a little bit. So we got it's 49 minutes and 30 seconds. So culture,
This will be our, like,
ethnicity, like I don't want to share any of it actually.
Okay, because you made a comment that somebody said to you that you need to stop doing something.
Oh,
I thought that was a really interesting comment.
I don't care about that. Yeah. Okay,
You
so
want? Okay, go ahead.
I will enjoy some wine while we record the podcast.
Huh.
That is my plan.
But if somebody is inclined and feels the need to and actually does say something like, "Hey, maybe you should not do that." Doesn't that mean something? Doesn't that have connotations beyond the words?
No, you know what? People can have different opinions about things, and
Huh,
alcohol is
huh.
not. So, like, am I an alcoholic? I think we should answer that question first. What
Yeah.
what is an alcoholic?
Hmm.
Like, so from I used to watch House MD, and he was clearly an addict, but his justification is that it wasn't ruining his life.
Hmm.
I would also argue, well, so I don't drink like every day. I want people to know that I don't drink every day. I drink like once a week at most sometimes. I think it's the circumstance. So we're in a professional setting, but it's after hours, after work hours, and I'll have a drink, which I think is very common in a lot of places. But my workplace is a little bit more conservative. And they suggested that because I'm the only one drinking often too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also why. So, but
So
is it ruining my life? No. Like I don't. It doesn't hurt my money. It doesn't hurt my work performance. None of that. So, am I an alcoholic? What's an alcoholic to you?
if I were to say to you, you should, hey, how about just try not drinking for a month? What is
Oh,
that?
a
What
whole month?
reaction do you have to that?
Why?
Just to see if you can do it.
I mean, I already know I can do it, but I mean, there's no incentive for me to do that.
So the fact that you're pushing back and not wanting to do that
I
tells
disagree.
me that.
I don't think
Huh?
that's correct. Wait, that's an arbitrary line that you're drawing.
Is it? It's not really arbitrary.
No, no.
It's very
Listen, no,
objective.
I would
Yeah.
push back with anything, not just this topic. Like, I
Yeah.
don't
No,
see
but
the point. Uh-huh.
so let's say that you. How many things are there that you are not willing to stop doing for a little bit,
A lot.
ju- just to like kind of prove the fact that you're not dependent on it?
Like sleep. I can't do that.
Okay,
Like,
let's
uh-huh.
not let's take out like the vital things like eating, sleeping,
Well, what about
going to
like
the
eating
bathroom.
dessert? I could not eat dessert, but I don't see the point why I need to prove that I don't need to eat dessert. Or like computer. I like being on my computer. Do I need to
Mm,
prove that? I mean, I think I could do it. Would it affect the quality of my life? Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But you
mm.
know what? In those professional settings, I've decided to not have alcohol. Doesn't that
Yeah,
say something? Yeah.
I think that no, that's great. Because we literally before the podcast, you mentioned that somebody said that to you, and we didn't talk about it. So I
Well,
didn't know what the conclusion was.
so someone told me that I should think about not drinking in those settings. But
Yeah.
it's like you're out at a dinner with your coworkers. Why can't
Mm.
I just enjoy, like, I'm not getting drunk to the point where I can't drive. Of course I would never drink. Well, so I am drinking and driving, but I'm not. I'm not. Listen.
Uh,
There
you're probably not over the legal
No,
limit.
absolutely not. Plus, I have
Okay.
a fairly decent tolerance, and I'm very well of like I have a lot of experience. I know that doesn't sound good, but I'm aware.
You know what would be crazy if one day you get like a DUI and then like people find this podcast and they're like, "Oh, this is the reason why you got a DUI."
I'll delete the episode. Yeah, 100%. I'll delete episode one. No, but I okay. Should we share our ages, or is that too much? Should we
no,
just
I
not
think
share any information?
no,
Because
I
that's
think we
it's a
can
slippery
generally.
slope.
No, I think okay. How
Like
about
the
what
decade?
generation are we a part?
Oh, what are we? Millennials?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
millennials.
yeah, yeah. What's the range of millennials? Hey, Kevin, look that up. Hold on, let's wait for Kevin to look that up for us. Hold on.
Well, while Kevin's looking that up, this is my guess. I think it's 19 like born after 1980.
Mm-hmm.
before and before like 2005.
Wow, that
At 20.
is 2005. You said.
uh,
Is it the same number of years or is it different per generation? You think?
I think it's generally 20 years, isn't it? How far off was I, Kevin?
So the first one I see on this chart is 1928 to 1945. What is that? And 15,
1920. Oh,
17 years. Is that
that,
17 years?
yeah.
And then it's 1946 to 1964.
Wait, but what's the millennial
No, no, I
age
know, but
then?
I just want to make sure. Well, I want to see if it's the same range every time. So
Okay.
46 to 64, or 14, 18. Wait, what the heck? So
That's
that's
18.
18, right? Maybe it
Yeah,
has to do with the events of the time period.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, so 65 to 80 is exactly 15. And then we millennials, this chart says 81 to 96,
Okay.
which is 9 plus 6, 15.
Okay.
So anywhere between 14 to like 17 years, I guess.
Yeah.
So yes, we were born between 1981 and 1996.
Yeah.
What was the point of that? Why did we look that up?
I don't know.
What were we just talking about?
Oh no, we were
Oh,
we were
sharing
talking about
information?
how much of ourselves are we
Okay. I
willing
wanna
to
I
share?
wanna side on less is more, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
As little as possible, but I think see that should we have shared our exact ages? Maybe that would have been fine, but I like that we sided on caution and decided to do I think that's okay. We're both millennials, and that says a lot. That says a lot about our
Yeah.
age and upbringing and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Time check, Kevin.
Well, when it's time, I'll let you know. But it's so 56:45 right now. 56:45.
Oh, okay. Dang. Well, I think we accomplished a lot on this podcast. I think we got a little flavor of what the content will look like as well
Yeah.
in the last topic that we had. Um,
All right, we gotta
I'm
fill 3 more
excited.
minutes. We gotta fill 3 more minutes of
Do
time.
you have topics already in mind?
I feel like I had one,
Oh,
but no. Like the other day, I did a random topic generator, and one of the topics, the first one was like, where is the most beautiful place in the world?
interesting.
Yeah, and I would argue. Well, so it's like first I would argue the criteria, like
Hmm.
whose opinion, what perspective, what, and also I'm trying to. I want to say something about my genetics that that
Oh.
that alters that. So my perception about beautiful
You know,
and huh?
by the end of this podcast,
uh,
like I feel like 20 episodes in, everyone's gonna know who we are
like
because
20
we're gonna.
questions. So 20 episodes, 20 questions. So they already know we're
No, it's like,
millennials
oh yeah,
and we're
yeah.
friends.
We're gonna give up a little bit additional information every episode. Yeah, yeah. I think that's interesting.
Well,
I
yeah,
want to do something like super controversial, not super controversial, but I want to do like some controversial topics too. I
like
think that'd be
racism.
fun. Racism is whatever.
Oh, you know what? So I have lots of information in my brain from many different sources, but a topic like racism, the right way to do it is to do some research, like get some statistics and theories and people's opinions and stuff like that. I don't have the time or interest in doing all that. I
No,
just want to,
but that's how it'd be fun to do it with whatever is in our brains.
yeah, yeah, that is the point,
Yeah.
but it'll be horribly incorrect. I feel like, but
But
that's how
people
it's
know
gonna
that.
be.
Yeah, people should know that. They should
Yeah, yeah,
expect
yeah,
it
yeah,
to be
yeah.
unprepared, unplanned, and
And
unpredictable.
okay, hold on.
Hey, we might get everything right, right? We don't know. Everything wrong, everything right. No.
We could get everything right. What could we get right?
I don't know. We could accidentally say all the right things without knowing anything.
I think we can assume also statistics. Well, the thing about statistics, like they can be skewed, right?
Mm,
And you can use
mm.
numbers and data to say anything that you want. But I think generally we have a from our experience, we can like generalize what numbers might say.
Yeah.
Yeah, like percentage of incarcerated folks like the how the race skews. I think we don't have to look up numbers to kind of know basically what it would be, right? Oh, okay. Anyway, thank you for listening to episode 1. I'm Jerry. My friend is Tom. Thank you for listening to the I don't know
Don't
the
forget Kevin.
Kevin. Kevin. Hey, appreciate you, Kevin. Hey, say the thing. What's the name? Oh, it's too late. Bye.